Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. Well, even before we go straight to the video, I wanted to let you guys know that my website Everything Flutter is going out of service because the website doesn't look that great and I was facing a lot of problems running this website. I have this new platform called 10doll, and just see the way it looks. The user experience here is way more better. You'll be able to understand the courses way more better with this. Like, this is just a whole new level, right? So if you had a course previously on Everything Flutter, don't worry, I will email you a coupon code so that you'll have access to the course here on 10doll. So with that being said, let's go straight to the video. Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. Well, you probably already realized that this is not Flutter and this is not Dart. This is actually Python, and I'm using Python to build a RESTful API that I will be using on a Flutter project later on. On my development career, I realized that you probably are going to need to know more than one language to make you a full stack developer, and probably going to know how to handle the back end of your projects and the front end of your projects. But you don't have to panic now trying to figure out where you can go to learn Python or to learn how to build RESTful APIs, because I have a solution for you and is the sponsor of today's video. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community where you can come to improve your skills or gain new ones. And the amount and variety of classes that we have on Skillshare are amazing. You can learn almost anything on Skillshare. But I will focus today on two sections that are of my interest and probably yours. First of all is the Python section, because here you can come to learn Python from the very basics, the very beginning of Python, into some advanced levels and even building a RESTful API the same way I was doing. And I would recommend this course here from George Escobar. And apart from Python, another recommendation I would give you guys is this one, Adobe XD. And this is extremely important when you want to prototype your mobile apps, because this makes your life way more easier. And the course I would recommend you guys to take is this particular one, User Experience Essentials by Daniel Scott. So go ahead, use the link in the description section and get 2 months for free on premium. Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our second part of our series. I think I can call it like that, cloning the Facebook Messenger app. Well, today the first goal is to teach you guys some good practices, right? Because I did this and we have this working, but this is not done in the right way, if I may. So let's get straight to it. We don't have to talk a lot. One of the things I talked about on our last video and I said that we were supposed to do is basically separate some widgets into classes, different classes. But okay, you'll understand in a minute what I mean. Basically, this is creating a directory called widgets. Boom, we have that. Now let's pay attention to our code. There was a lot of repetition here, and repetition is never a good thing. If we come down here, you can see that we have a lot of repetition. This is what generated these images here, these circular ones. So I'll get rid of those and we will implement this correctly. Okay. Good. And let's eliminate this one as well. Good. Now the way you want to go about doing this, mainly when you have widgets repeating themselves in your apps, is basically doing this. Now we'll create here a new file and let's call it contact .dart. I don't know if that's the perfect name, but whatever. I'm not very good naming files. And of course you'll want to import Flutter material.dart and let's make use of a stateless widget and we'll call this guy contact widget. Good. Now coming back to this, we'll make use of this thing. You know why this name here is not a good one, so let's rename this guy circular image is better. Okay, we'll call it circular image. Good. Now let's go to our contacts and we'll copy this. Remove it from there and it's gone. And let's place it here. Good. And there, instead of calling directly this code, we'll just call this widget called circular image. So let's go back there. And now we're calling this circular image widget, which must be imported. And sorry for the noise. And if you control save it, okay. First of all, you have to come here, make sure you save this file. Good. If you control save it, now you can access it like this. I mean, this is good, but still we didn't do much here, so there's something else that could be done, which is basically let's do something like this. So we have a final variable called image path, which basically will just ask for the path where this image is present. Let me zoom a bit. And now we need to have this inside of our constructor. Good. Here we can just have img for image instead of image path, because here we already have the path defined. The only thing we need here is the actual image. So we'll just do img here, since it's a variable. Make sure we have that $sign included. Okay. So guys, this is basically what we have right now. What we will want to do here is going to our contacts, and now the logic is going to be a bit different, because we are going to pass the image name directly from this image widget. So here on our case, we are going to write img, meaning image, and providing the image name. Oh, but this is supposed to be a string. So. Why am I writing there? Okay. m2.jpg. And just like that, everything will be working fine. And we do avoid some code repetition as well. What else can we do? Let me open up this and see. The circular avatar. Okay, let's try to do something. Before we completely close this, let's use a container, and we'll give some decoration to that container. We call that box decoration. And for the color, we will give blue. And this is basically what we have. I mean, we will give white. No, let's leave it at blue, then I'll show you guys why. Okay, and then now we need to define our border radius. And here we have it. Let's put it at 10 and see how it looks like. 20. $25. Okay. Now we can add a bit of padding here, and what I'm trying to do here is basically replicating how a contact will look like if it has some status. Now let's define some border all. And now we can change the color of this to white. It's going to be fine. So we're basically replicating how a contact will look like if it has status on. So to make that possible, or to add a bit of logic into that, let's add a boolean and by default, oh no, good. And basically here we are just checking if the user has status on of that particular contact. If they do, we are going to display this blue thing. If they don't, we won't display nothing. Oops. Okay. I think I know what's the issue here. I will test something. I don't know if this if this will work. I know it won't. Okay, let's assert first that this is not null. Or even better, we will just do it as remove it from here and make it a positional argument. Fine. This particular user, it doesn't have status, that's why it's white. Now let me do a second one. Set this one to true. So this one has status on. And maybe add a third one. With a status on as well. Now, even for this section, we could improve this. Instead of pasting this over and over again, we could just use a list view builder, but I mean, it's not really required here. We can just do the way we are doing here. We already improved the code, so that should be good enough. Good. This section here is done. Now let's take care of another section. And the other section is going to work like this. So guys, I went ahead and changed the radius to 25. I think things will fit better on the display. Okay. So now we have one part missing here, and let's finish that thing up. We just have to go out of this container, but first of all, let us format this text. Yeah, it looks better like this. Okay. As always, we are going to use our sized box here. Height 10 as always. And now let's start working with the last part of this. Even before we do this, there's something else I would like to see if we can be able to add here, and that is that green circle that shows when the user is online. Okay, how can we go about doing that? We would just wrap everything inside of a stack. Oops. Wrap everything inside of a stack. And then make use of positioned widget. And then here as a child, we'll provide the container, define a width of 10 and height of 10. And then for the decoration, we are going to give it a color of green. Okay, we have something there. Still not what we want, but it's good enough. We can increase this to 15, I think. Okay. Now the very first thing is removing this position widget from here and taking it to the bottom here. Ooh. Good. Then we will use align, not align, we'll use bottom 2 and right 2, and we have that on the right place. Maybe we could take that a bit down. Good. Another good thing for us to do here is to make sure this thing is round. Good. And finally, border all, and the color is going to be white. Width of 2. Let's try 1. And right there we have it. Now finally we will just wrap this inside of a widget called visibility widget. It's kind of self-explanatory what this widget does. Then visible if the user is online but the online variable is not defined. So final boolean online. We are going to have a couple issues there. But online is now added to the equation. And let's make sure this is required if you don't want to run into any problem. Online true for this one, and I'll just assign the values randomly. Online false, online true, and finally we have online false. And just like that, some users are online, other users are not. Good. We have that out of the way. Now, something else we can do now is come in here we need a list tile. And we have a parameter called leading. We'll just copy this. Put it here. Make sure everything is well formatted. We have another one called title, which is going to be text. Now, speaking of text, there's something else you can do to improve your code, but whatever, I'll do it. Let's do it the normal way, then I'll show you guys. Jeremy Mario is the name of this guy. And for the subtitle, text will be, hey there, are you coming? And let's see how things look like. We kind of have our own issues here that we will need to deal with. How can we solve this problem? Let's try to use a container and then a child inside of this container. We'll put this guy. Okay, it didn't change much. Let's try to do it the other way around, which would be basically putting here circular avatar, and for the background image, we're going to use asset image, just like that. Manually we're giving the path of the image, and let's see how things will look like. It is supposed to be slash. Okay. Let's increase the radius here. Okay, 25. Is good enough. And one last thing that we still have to do inside of our list tile is trailing. I don't have to build everything again. We can just come here and see how we build this green widget here. Copy, paste. But here, instead of green, we will give it blue as the color. Meaning that you haven't read this message yet. Let's just decrease the size of this to something like 1010. This is way too small now. Good. Now again, I will just replicate this couple of times, but I think you already know how to do this properly. Or I can just go and do this right away. Yeah, I can just generate. Let me do it. Create another Dart file. Called conversation. We're going to import flat material.dart. Make it a stateless widget, but obviously if we were fetching this from the database, it would be more reasonable to make it a stateful widget. Now go back to our contacts and copy this, our list tile. Then we copy this, we remove it from here, boom, it's gone. Open this file. Here we have it, and we already know that we will need a couple parameters here. The image, name, part of the message, if the message is already read. I mean, we could add a couple more parameters like it's online, is online, and has status, but we good. Oops. Now we need to create our constructor. Down here we have it. And here we'll have the image. And then the name, and in here we will have the message. If the message is already red, nothing will be displayed. I mean, the blue dot will be white, basically. Copy this, because this is what we need for now. Paste it here, import the files. Image. This is supposed to be a string. We have the image, name, we have the name, message, we have our message here, then we have our is red. Basically the message is not red. Now we can just copy and duplicate this thing. Oops. Now we can change the image here. Okay. And that's basically it. We can still add one more. Okay, here we have our basic structure of our Facebook Messenger done. We still have to add a couple things in here, but we can do that on our next video while trying to finalize this.